everyone, I'm back with another wonderful video of a poem which is written by Douglas Malloch. Now, in this poem, you're going to see something very beautiful conveyed through few lines, and the name of the poem is Be the Best. So, as the name suggests, be the best version of yourself. There is no category, there is no criteria defined to be your best. Somebody says that if you have long hair, you're the best. If you do not have long hair, you aren't even good. So the poet is trying to emphasize certain things in life which are not defined, that you have to have inbuilt in you. You need to have inbuilt. So we'll read paragraph by paragraph and I will explain you line by line. So the first stanza says, if you can't be a pine on the top of the hill. So children, here you must have seen when you go to hills, you will always have pine trees, long pine trees which are actually on the top of the hill. Now what does the top of the hill means? That's in certain times you feel that you are not on the top. You're in the middle, you are either a mediocre or you have just started doing something. You are in the starting phase of your life. So this line, this phrase, pine on the top of the hill means that if you do not hold a position which is on the top, if you are not like a pine tree, the poet is asking you to think about the pine tree, that if you think you are not as huge, as large, as enormous as a pine tree on the top, then there is nothing to dishearten yourself. There is nothing that can stop you. If you cannot be a pine tree, then be a scrub in the valley. Now what does it scrub? Scrub are the small plants and flowers, colorful flowers which you will usually find. They are very small in size. They cannot be easily noticed. But if you go through a valley and you observe the edges of the valley, then you can find these scrubs. So the poet says, if you do not find yourself on the top, at least try to be a scrub. Then you can try to be something else, and finally you can be a pine tree. So that means you have to be best. If you're not a pine tree, then you have to be best when you are a scrub. You have to be best in what you are. The best little scrub by the side of the rill. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. Now he says, if you even cannot be a tree, then why don't you be a bush? Now you see the bushes around you. They make the roads look so lovely. If you're on a highway, if you go on a road and you see small bushes, they increase the beauty of the road. So he says, if you cannot be a tree of the forest, if you cannot be a part of it, that doesn't mean you are of less value. That doesn't mean that you don't hold any value. It simply means you are best in what you are. You be a bush. Who's asking you to be a tree, right? Now the second stanza says, if you can't be a bush, be a bit of the grass. Now he says, even if you cannot be a bush, then you be the little grass. There is, and some highway happier make, and you make the highway look prettier. If you can't be a muskie, then just be a bass, but the liveliest bass in the lake. Now children, muskie here is a very expensive, as a very rare fish, which is very unique. So he says, if you do not hold the importance as important as that of this muskie, if you do not feel that you are as important as a muskie, then why don't you be a bass? Now bass is a less common fish. It's not very popular, but because it is cheap, most of the people, most of the natives of that place, they buy that fish and it is most consumed. So he says, it is you who defines your own importance. It is you how you make yourself feel special. So if you're not a muskie, you be a bass. But the liveliest bass in the lake. Liveliest means because so many people are consuming it, so it's considered as the most consumed and the most used. We can't all be captains, we have got to be crew. Now he says, if all of us start taking the most important jobs, then who's going to take the short jobs? For example, if every one of you want to be an engineer, every one of you want to be a teacher, then who are going to take care of the small tasks in our country, in our world? So we all cannot be captains, children. We have to understand that we have to get into roles. Everyone has to get roles of certain thing or the another. There is something for all of us here. Like, see, beautifully written. Everything is written for us. Some of you may be a clerk, some of you can be a boss, somebody can be a CEO, somebody can be a gardener, somebody can be, any post you can have. So we all cannot be similar. We all cannot be the captains of the ship. We have to be crew. We have to see these smaller and internal parts as well. There's a big work to do and there is lesser to do, and the task we must do is the near. So beautifully written. He says you may have bigger task, you may have lesser task, but you need to focus on what task you are doing has to be the best. Even if it is smaller, even if it is bigger, doesn't matter. What matters is that you do it with authenticity, you do it with perfection. This is what the poet wants you to do. The last stanza. If you can't be a highway, then just be a trail. Now, you have seen highways, they are very nicely built. The roads of the highway will be smooth. You will have plants in the middle of the highway. At the night, you will have so many street lights. It looks like we are into some foreign country or world. So, highway usually are expensive and you built with all the decorations and stuff. So he says if you cannot be as good as a highway, why don't you be a trail? Now what is a trail? If you have ever gone to a camping or trekking, you must have gone in between the mountains, the roads which are not built, the roads in between the mountains, the path that you make on your own, that is the trail. So he says if you cannot be a mountain, then be a trail. So many people go on trail. So the people that go on camping, the people that go on trekking, they all go on a trail only, right? So that is also being used. So just do not aim to be the highest person. You can aim to be a smaller person, but aim to be the best. If you can't be the sun, be a star. He says sun and star both have got their own light. So if you cannot be a star and be the brightest, you can be a star who takes away the brightness of other, but still it is giving the brightness. Anyhow, it isn't by size that you win or you fail. Be the best of whatever you are. Very beautifully written. He says that your size doesn't matter. If you are small, that doesn't mean you're of less value. If you are huge, that doesn't mean you're of bigger value. What shows is if you are best at doing something, that makes you unique and the best. So the poet has given you certain comparisons and explanations between a very important thing and a less important thing. Basically, that doesn't matter. Size and importance doesn't matter. What matters is how strong you are and how best you want to be in what you do. I hope, children, the poem is clear to you. If you have understood the poem, please go and like my channel, subscribe my channel. Most of you haven't subscribed. So I keep on posting a lot of details like competitions and, events and quizzes. So if you want to get a regular update of this, please go like and subscribe my channel. And you can also share with your friends who can be benefited from this. Till then, have a great day. Keep learning, keep sharing.